I heard you clicking.
Territorial Pissings is my 5.
And then what's Breed?
Breed is my 4.
You're such a you're pee-pee. You're pee-pee. I don't
But
know
hey,
what pee-pee
Drainy's
stands
in
for.
there, right? Drainy's in there.
God, you're so predictable and pathetic. That's what you are. Yeah.
That's fine. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, predictable and pathetic. You're one-dimensional. You're a piece of paper instead of like a
Why
cube.
though? But why?
Welcome back to Asinine Radio, a weekly podcast where we talk about music, and well, that's pretty much it. So let's go.
This is Asinine Radio. This is the weekly music podcast where every week we get into a different band, different album, and we break it down musically, lyrically, and usually it's a wild ride. So thank you all for listening. And my name is Tyler. Way out there, hundreds of miles away, is Jeff. Go to all the social media. We're at Asinine Radio on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, anywhere that any social media platform. That's what we're on. Dude, this intro sucks.
I don't.
This sucks.
I think. To be honest, I think all of your intros are overall boring. It's just too much information. You got to just whittle it down to. Don't be a fucking dickhead. Give us 5 stars. I noticed some of you fucking knuckleheads out there giving not 5 stars. Like, fuck off then if you're not gonna do it. Who cares? Just don't listen again, shitface. And then also just join the Discord. 'Cause that's where we argue the most. Is on Discord. That's it. That's all you need to say. That's it.
That's all I need to say. That's all I need to say.
Fucking
So then,
morons out there.
what are we doing today, Jeff?
Nevermind by Nirvana.
So, yeah. All right, Jeff, what is your origin story with the Nirvanas? Go.
Just MTV growing up. I mean, Smells Like Teen Spirit was everywhere. Still is everywhere. And K-Rock, like especially, dude, K-Rock plays so, I don't know if they still do. They probably do. But damn, they played so much Nirvana all the time. Every personality, whether it was Stryker, or Cat Corbett, or Rodney, anybody,
Fish.
everybody played fucking Nirvana. The beginning of the shift and the end of the shift played Nirvana. Something in the middle, they played deep cuts in Nirvana. So it's just like Nirvana. That's like saying what's your origin story with like fucking Zeppelin or something. You know what I mean? It was just there. It was there
Just
before I
been there,
even knew it. I don't have like an origin story. It's just I've heard Nirvana always, as far back as I can remember.
All right. My origin, I guess my origin story is the same. Hearing them on local K-Rock, on the local radio K-Rock, MTV as well. And you know, the last maybe 10, 15 years, it's funny because they don't play Teen Spirit that much. They mainly play In Bloom, God damn, the fucking cat. They mainly play In Bloom, Come As You Are, and Heart Shaped Box, weirdly enough. But they don't play Teen Spirit that often. But yeah, no, that's my origin story. It's the same as you, but it wasn't until like 7th grade. It wasn't until middle school where I really just just something clicked with me, and I was fucking obsessed with Nirvana, and in every way, and I still love this band to death. But we'll get into that more. But no, that's really my origin story. So I guess let's jump into Nevermind. Let's give our initial thoughts on this record, their second record, like I said. And then we'll go from there. We'll talk about Teen Spirit first since we already played it. But what are your initial thoughts on Nevermind? Go.
I've always kind of held this to be just this kind of like sellout pop record that was just kind of dumb. That was like way too produced and didn't capture the essence of Nirvana very well because In Utero is so vastly different and Bleach is so vastly different. But no, I don't think so at all. I think just the opposite. After again reading so many things that Kurt liked the outcome of this record. He liked the way it sounded. He liked everything about it, even though Butch Vig had to kind of like lie to him in certain spots about dubbing guitars and vocals and tracks and things like that. But still, the outcome, Kurt loved this record until he didn't, until it became popular, until it blew up, until it made him a millionaire. Then he didn't like it. Whatever. Don't care. He's the artist. He can do whatever the fuck he wants with his music. But as it came out, he liked it, and that's all we really have to go off of, because it is a great record, and it's not just like a great record. It's because I don't know, Zeppelin 3 is a great record. House of the Holy is a great record. This is something that truly did like change the scope of music. This Smells Like Teen
Changed
Spirit
culture.
alone changed the scope of music forever. Things were never different after that. Like again, like Zeppelin 3 is a great record. Zeppelin 1 is a great record. Like these didn't change like the scope of music though, the way this did. It just didn't.
Yeah.
Van Halen 1, great record, perfect record. Didn't change the scope of music. It's unbelievable how influential Nevermind is, and probably will forever be. And to think that Kurt didn't like it when it came out is stupid, because he loved it. I'm just repeating myself at this point, I guess. But I don't know. I think this is what music needed. This is what music needed. It's not wanky. It's the death to the hair metal. It's not self-indulgent, sexist, gropey rock stars. But it's still really, really, really pop. Where you're now focusing on melodies. And even Kurt says he doesn't give a shit about the lyrics. And a lot of lyrics, like, who gives a fuck about? I really didn't read that much into the lyrics because I felt that would have been really good. The homage to Kurt to not read into the lyrics at all. So I actually I only read into one of the lyrics. And then everything else, I purposely did not look into them at all.
I think people really put this band on a pedestal and lyric wise, because I agree with you. And he said too, the lyrics are completely secondary. And he said most of the people are wrong when they try to interpret it. And then you go onto all these websites and like, this is what the song about. This is what this word means. This is what this line means. It's like, dude, there's no way Kurt Cobain put that much time and effort into these songs, especially when you look at how quickly they made all these records, how quickly they wrote all these songs. You know, with just, we're talking about Nevermind right now. He wouldn't write the lyrics until he recorded the song. You know, he would write them then and there. Like a lot of the shit wasn't very deep. In Utero is a little bit different, because when we broke down that record, I feel like that was the only time he ever put effort into the lyrics, was on that record. Because there's some really cool stuff on there. But reading all the stuff on Nevermind and then, you know, seeing how this and Bleach were made, there's no fucking way. He didn't have the time, the money. Really, I just don't think he gave a shit. That wasn't his intention. His intention was to write good pop songs that he liked to listen to. That's all it was. And that's why Bleach sounds like the Melvins a little bit, because he wanted to sound like the Melvins.
But like Bleach doesn't sound like the Melvins. Bleach sounds like a band, like a bunch of kids, because they're born in the late 60s. So really they grew up in the mid to late 80s. Like that was their formative musical years, was that era of music. Or 70s, I mean. So like that was like the real formative of years. So they're seeing these bands that came out in the early 70s kind of get into their later lifestyles where they're already bigger than life. Zeppelin's already massive. They're already huge. And so then he really saw the transition of music in the 80s, and that's what like pissed him off, because we now went from this like bigger than life like rock star persona, this you know, Robert Plant, Jimmy Page thing, where they are really, really talented at what they do, but they're kind of douchebags and they probably treat women like shit. But now we're getting to like Motley Crue, who they're not really that great at what they do. They treat women even worse, and they're even more like machismo and horrible. And so he's seeing this like this transition in music. And so he says, I like what is happening here. I like the rock star persona. I like the bigger than life attitude. But why can't everybody enjoy this? Like, why can't everybody enjoy Motley Crue? Why can't women come to these shows, even though they did in the droves? I don't know why anybody went to those Motley Crue shows, to be honest. But now Kurt is thinking in his mind where he thinks, he's like, why can't I do this but make it for everybody? And that's why like Smells Like Teen Spirit is one of the. It's my like 7B, I think I listed it as.
Okay.
9B. Smells Like Teen Spirit is my 9B.
It's my 6B. My 6B.
Yeah. But like Smells Like Teen Spirit is like a top 5 song of all time. Easy.
Yeah, you can't argue it. And what I love,
time.
what makes this song so great as well. I mean, it was the death nail to hair metal and all that 80s metal stuff. And what I love about it is how simple it is. It's 4 power chords. That's it. And it's not like this like crazy strumming pattern. It's a very simple, straightforward thing that he does. And that's all he plays through the whole song. really is that one riff minus like, the pre-chorus, but otherwise, it's the same fucking riff. The entire fucking song. The simplicity of it is unreal. And how this song blew up. I think people were just so. I think what it was so people were so tired of the indulgence of music. Like everything was just so, drugs, sex. It was just larger than life and everything like that. But this is just sad, like just sad music. You know what I mean? It's heavier. It's people just wanted something. The antithesis of hair metal. The antithesis of big. They just wanted simple, and this just really struck a chord with everyone.
And the 80s was a time of like record companies, these record labels, like they really made out in the 80s, and for sure in the 90s, but like the 80s is kind of like where we start to see these pop acts like Madonna, Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston. These massive pop acts are just raking in millions per year for these record labels. And I didn't read too much into how much they made, the artists themselves, but like it is almost like common knowledge how much money record labels made in the 80s. That is where they got their foothold. That is why the 90s sucked so bad for artists, was because of the 80s, was because these record labels took all of the money from these artists and all of the royalties and all of their rights. And so Smells Like Teen Spirit comes out, and it is like this anthem for like, man, I'm fucking tired of all of this shit. I'm tired of the 80s synth-driven stuff. I'm tired of the overproduction quality of the 80s. I'm tired of all of these things that just is not rock music. And Smells Like Teen Spirit, the fucking name alone, is a complete mistake, right? Just a poor choice of words that like the subjectivity of it alone, right? Smells like Teen Spirit. Kurt smells like Teen Spirit. That's the lore that happened where his girlfriend Toby wrote something down. Teen Spirit is a deodorant for kids or something. And she wrote as a joke, as it says that Kurt smells like Teen Spirit. And the subjectivity of that alone, like that's a perfect example of how inspiration comes in so many different forms and is so incredibly subjected. If that was never even written, if that stupid little joke was never even written, like who knows what could have happened, right? Like who knows the trajectory of Nirvana? They could have made another Bleach, but they wrote Smells Like Teen Spirit because Kurt thought like, oh, that's a really cool like teenage anthem for all the angst that I've been experiencing throughout the 80s. I want everyone to feel what I feel now. So here we go with this teen anthem that doesn't fucking mean a goddamn thing. Yeah, it just sounds cool.
Such a the title is such a throwaway line. And he doesn't even say those words. He never even says in the song.
No, it's so good.
It's so fucking throwaway. Yeah.
I love that title. Smells Like Teen Spirit. That is so fucking cool.
And like you said, people just grasped that concept and that title and just made it the song of the song of Gen X.
For sure.
I mean, this is arguably the biggest song to come out of the 90s, right? I mean, there's no song that's bigger than this.
I don't think so. And even when I say like this is the top 5 song of all time, like that's a no brainer. You could make a case for like a top 3 song of all time. You really could. This is
just in how it impacted, like you said, it impacted the music scene, but also culture, because it think of the stylistic change, in fashion, in what people are talking about, everything in American society, or not every. I mean, we were very young, but it seems like everything changed drastically after, hair metal died. It's almost like people started to become more mature and started to become more conscious of what was going on in life, in their own lives and other people's lives. It wasn't so just surface level.
I think like politics and I guess like, what do you call it? Like social, like popness, like fashion, music, movies. I think those things kind of like go opposites, because the 80s was a very conservative time, right? Reagan dominated the 80s. And so we're getting a lot of really like high tax cuts for the rich, the whole trickle down economic thing, the Reaganomics. So we're getting a very, very conservative America, which kind of bred like the opposite for like the hair metal stuff. The hair metal stuff was very aggressively sexual, which is not conservative in any way. And so I think those two things kind of go hand in hand. Now with the 90s just coming along, I think Reagan stopped being president in 89 or 88 or something, late 80s. And so now, then it became like democratic. It became more liberal. But then the music still was kind of like holding on to that rock star persona. But like we still want rock music. We still need rock music because we love rock music. America loves rock music. The world loves rock music. But where do we go? Where do we go from the rock music that we absolutely hated in the 80s? And people still hate it. People that think they like the 80s rock music, they don't. They're full of themselves.
Nobody.
They're lying.
Yeah.
They don't like it. So like, where do we go from there? And the grunge scene was exploding, right? Soundgarden was already doing stuff. A lot of these bands were already doing stuff, but they're not getting mainstream success. They're not selling 1 million copies the first couple months the record's dropping. They're making a living for themselves, but they're not making mainstream success.
Mm-hmm.
And then like Nevermind drops, and they thought that maybe they would sell 500,000 copies within the first year. And we're talking, dude, they're selling like 100,000 copies a week.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that fucking
200,000
insane?
copies a week. And then before they could even release like a single, before they could even release any like music videos or anything, they're selling so many copies and they can't even keep up with it. It's absolutely bonkers. I never realized how fast this took off. And it took off because the people that were buying this album, right, maybe 14 years to 22, 23, not quite 25, that's too old. But I think that's like the sweet spot. And those are the kids that are fucking sick and tired of that 80s shit. Just sick of it.
Yeah, and they wanted their own identity. That's what it was, because it was still like, it was still the boomers, the boomers were still living off the 70s and then kind of into the 80s as well. And then I think the Gen X were just so disenfranchised. Like they didn't know what to do. That's why people have always said they're like this like lethargic generation. They were so lost. And I feel like this is the first band to come along that made them feel something, that made them feel good and different and separated them from their parents or separated them from anybody older than them. And it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
It also paved the way for other musicians to make a living, supposedly, even though the record labels took most of their money. But it created the illusion, I guess, of musicians being able to make a living, even if you're not like a larger than life Zeppelin or Kiss or Motley Crue or Poison, any of these other bigger, humongous bands. You could still make a fucking living. You could still be the Goo Goo Dolls, even though they sold millions of copies, but you could still like make a really good living doing this. You could still be a Harvey Danger, even a Marcy Playground, and still make a pretty good living. Dude, I love this title. Smells Like Teen Spirit is like one of the coolest song names of all time. It's so cool.
It is.
It's so perfect. It's so perfect in its like complete mistaken identity, misdirected. Like it should have never existed had it not been for that one little stupid joke. Talk about like the butterfly effect, right? With Ashton Kutcher, fantastic movie. But like the butterfly effect where if you're living under a fucking rock and you know what the butterfly effect is, but like a butterfly flaps its wings in Japan or something and causes a tsunami hundreds of miles away on a different coast, like just, cause and effect type of thing. Like that one little instance causes cultural phenomenon, this historic event in music. Oh, it's so cool.
Oh, and what I was going to say is the label originally wanted Lithium to be the first single or like the first proper single. So they released this song to radio and everything like that. But then it blew up so quickly that they didn't even have a chance to throw out Lithium first as a lead single. So I thought that's crazy, like how quickly this blew up to where the label couldn't keep up. But mind you, they were under the label that they were on was DGC, which is technically a major label, but it wasn't Sony. It wasn't, the big ones, So I don't know. I think that's super cool too, that the label was smaller that they blew up on. It wasn't a huge, what's a big label of the time?
Atlantic.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like it was a fairly small major label that blew them up. And that probably pissed the fuck off all the other big labels.
You're struggling here on your favorite band of all time.
I'm really struggling right now.
Whew. God damn, Smells Like Teen Spirit. This is my 9B. It sits that low for me. It's just
I get it. I get it because it is so popular, right? That's why it's so low for me too. I've heard this song 1,000 fucking times.
I think because it's not that great of a song. I think it's just
but
it's
it is,
because
though.
it's no, it's not. There's other songs on this album that are better, that are much better. It's just not that great of a song. I think when he hits those ding, I don't really like those two notes at all that much. I think it's
but
like
put there? Just
That's
nothing?
exactly. It's like, I don't know what else to do here, but I feel like we should do something. So I'm going to do this. And I think altogether, this song is just fucking dope. But if you take out Dave Grohl's like intro drum part,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. Would this song even like be as great? Because that's the only reason why anybody listen to this song anyway.
I think it's a
At least they
combination
should.
of the opening riff with just the clean guitar playing that riff, and then Dave coming in, and then it's the full band thing. It's the quiet, loud dynamic that when they were writing this song, Kurt was kind of worried. We're kind of ripping off the Pixies. I feel like we're ripping off the Pixies a little bit because that's kind of what they're known for, is that dynamic thing of the soft and hard. And they were kind of criticized for that, for kind of ripping off the Pixies, but they just did it so goddamn well. And Teen Spirit was a great example of it. The soft and hard.
I mean, the song
But
does rock. It's very like the Nirvana, right? Loud, quiet thing that they got going on. And
yeah.
it's fine. I do wonder why Chris doesn't have a better bass part for this one. And I wonder if that was like I was trying to read anything about it, but I didn't find anything, because the dude knows how to write like pretty cool little licks. He can do little flourishes and little slides, and he can do cool shit from time to time.
Yeah.
But in this one, it's just a dum 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 dum, just that 4 notes. And I wonder if like Butch Vig is the one that tried to tell him to like tone it down to just groove, because that's what like a pop song is.
It could have been.
I'd like to
Really
hear
could
a,
have
a
been.
bit more explanation on that one. 'Cause
It
we've
had
heard
to
him
have
do
been.
like crazy shit before, and in very small amounts of times on different songs and on this album.
Yeah, that's true. He has some great fucking moments on this record, which we'll get into. We're not even into like our biggest bangers yet.
Yeah,
But real quick before we move on to the lyrics and then out of this song, the chorus, man, that chorus hits so fucking hard.
it does.
With the main guitar riff comes in, and then the first line, "With the lights out, it's less dangerous." The way that Kurt sings that is truly iconic. I think that is just as popular, if not more popular, than the main riff itself.
I think the 2 lines, "Here we are now, entertain us," after that is also just like,
Yeah, that one's.
Like,
I mean, that's iconic too.
it's just like this. Oh, dude, it's iconic because it's iconic now, right? But like when it came out, hearing this for the first time, I don't know. My panties probably fucking drop if I heard this for the first time in early 90s.
I remember I remember exactly where I was at when this song clicked for me. I was sitting in my room listening to K-Rock, and that riff came on, and I don't remember ever hearing that riff before, and that came on, and I just had that, that feeling like of something you've never heard in your entire life, something that's so different and so unique. That was me when I heard this song in 7th grade, and I immediately asked my dad to take me to Best Buy to get this record, and I bought Nevermind like the next day, just because of that one riff.
I remember being, I think I was 15 when I actually bought my first acoustic guitar, and it wasn't given. But I was at Sam Goody in Cerritos, and I had asked my mom to take me, but she made me go to church first. That was like the trade-off. I didn't drive at the time, so I had to go to church first. And then we went to Sam Goody, and I was trying out guitars, and then I picked one out, and I was trying to play this riff. And the guy at Sam Goody was like, "That's really good, dude, but like the pattern's wrong." And I said, "What do you mean?" Because I was going just doing like that thing.
Yeah.
He's like, "No, dude, check it out." He was really nice about it too. It wasn't like yelling at me or nothing. He's like, "Check it out," and then show me how to actually do the thing. And that was like the first time I ever learned chicka chickas. Actually, I don't know think
was
about
this
it.
song?
Was this song? And then like the guy who worked at Sam Goody, which I don't think Sam Goody's even a fucking store anymore.
I don't think so.
Sam
I remember
Ash,
that one
not
in
Sam
Cerritos.
Goody. It was Sam Ash.
Oh yeah, Sam Ash. I
not
know where
Sam
you're
Goody.
talking. I know where it was in Cerritos. I remember
Yeah.
that store.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sam Ash was the other Guitar Center. Sam
Yeah.
Goody was like the other warehouse.
Yes.
But no, yeah, it's truly iconic. And another thing I wanted to mention about this song is I looked on Spotify. This has 1.5 billion streams just on Spotify.
So good.
I mean, it's crazy. A song that came out in 1991 has that many hits on one streaming site. It's crazy cool. This is not one of the songs that they had demoed prior to going to, because they recorded this record at Sound City in Van Nuys, California. And they had done some demos with Butch Vig, who produced the record, at another studio. I believe it was in Wisconsin. I could be wrong, but it was in Wisconsin, I think. But this Teen Spirit was not one of those, but Teen Spirit was a song that was written just like a week before they went into the iconic Sound City studio to record. So this is like a last minute song that was written. And also, this is the only song on the record outside of the hidden track that gives songwriting credits to the whole band of Kurt, Chris, and Dave. So I thought that was pretty cool too. The whole story, how, you know, he brought in the riff and then they kind of built around it. It's so cool that their most iconic song, it was a full band, you know, has the full band as the songwriter. So
yeah, and I didn't feel I put this on pretty goddamn loud this week too, like pretty fucking almost maxed out my speakers. Just this record, actually all four of the records I listened to, and it is goofy and it is overplayed and it is kind of like childish and it is old and there's a lot of like negative things to say about it. But then you put it on, it's like, wow, man, this is a good fucking song, dude. This is a good fucking song. I'll tell you that much.
When Kurt's guitar comes in, that just that riff, man, the clean riff, it gets me so pumped. It gets me so goddamn pumped. Another thing too, just real quick, Butch Vig has said that Kurt generally refused to do more than like 3 or 4 vocal takes because he just wanted it to be done. He just thought fussing over it was just not worth it. It didn't give it like an organic feel or sound. So Butch would have to kind of trick him, saying, you know, oh, you know, I that recording got messed up. You got to do it again. The tape cut out or whatever. So he would trick Kurt into doing more vocal takes.
It's called lying.
Yeah, he would lie to Kurt to do it. And on Teen Spirit, Kurt only did 3 vocal takes, and I think they ended up using the second take as the master take, which I thought was it's fucking cool, man. Just how kind of stripped down this record actually is, and then how enormous it is on a cultural level. Do we have anything else on this? Oh, we didn't touch on the lyrics. What do you have on the lyrics?
Because I don't care. I think these lyrics, again, there's only one song that I looked in the lyrics. Everything else, I just didn't care. I didn't care. I thought it was not in the vein of Nirvana, much like how Posty and them wore those muumuus during their performance.
Yeah.
I thought a good way to honor the tradition would be to not even fuck with the lyrics.
Should I not even talk about them then?
I honestly did. There's only one song I looked into the lyrics just because I was curious.
Okay. I mean, we don't really have to touch.
But you
upon
can
it too much.
if you did the work, you can do it. If you have anything
I
crazy to say, then do it. Absolutely.
I think people really overanalyze this band or overanalyze this record, especially. I think people claim that this song is about it's like his ironic commentary on, you know, party culture and just culture in general. Just how everything is very, very superficial and surface level and all that kind of stuff. But I didn't get that at all when I was reading the lyrics. I felt like this song is about using drugs to cope with his own insecurities and depression. And when you read every verse and pre-chorus and chorus just shows that it just shows how insecure of a person that he was. And I think what other people have been saying is just stupid. I think people are wrong. They really overanalyze this fucking record and this band.
I will say too, like a lot of the lyrics when I was reading them, I had fucking no idea what he was saying until I read those lyrics.
There were 2 songs where I couldn't figure out the lyrics. They were just like nonsensical. So,
I think he just does like a lot of opposites. I think he thinks when he writes lyrics, like, this sounds good. What is like the opposite of this line that I could write? So like, the sun comes up in the morning. Then the next line would be like the moon goes down at night. Like those kind of opposite things. I think he likes to do those a lot. And then he likes to just rhyme cool shit together.
I think you're right. I think you're totally right.
A very like stream of consciousness, poetic thing to do. I don't think they really mean anything individually, but I think overall the song means something. And I think this is like his attempt at writing something for the masses. I think this is, like you said, the Pixie thing. I think this was him trying to write a pop song for the masses that people could rally behind, that people could feel like inclusive about, that people would love and dance to. And there's no fucking way. Like, it's just, I can't even imagine what it's like to write something like this and then have it blow up so fast, so massively.
Yeah.
I don't know. 9B though.
Pretty fucking
9B.
All right, it's my 6B. All right, so what's your 1B? Biggest banger on here. Is it really In Bloom? No way.
I swear, dude, In Bloom is my 1B.
Oh my god.
It's so good.
Because of the drums, the chicka chickas.
Dude,
what is it?
It's insane. Like there are songs that just instantly get me hyper. Like I just get hyperactive. Like my high school me self comes out where I want to like jump off of shit and do dumb stuff comes out instantly. In Bloom is one of those songs. It gets me so fucking hyper. And this is a good example of a song that has a drum melody. There's something here. There's something to grab a hold of, and it's memorable. Girl smacks those fucking toms so hard. It's so great. And then also, this is another example of how good of drummer Chad was, because Grohl says that he stayed very, very close to the beat that Chad had already worked out, that he already wrote out. Grohl's beat is very, very much like Chad. So I love Grohl's stuff, but that's also Chad's stuff, brother. So god damn, dude, again, Chad Channing, dumb name, great drummer.
Did you watch the alternate video, the alternate version of this video?
Were those the last ones you sent?
It was it was on the With the Lights Out DVD. It was in that, but Nirvana on the Nirvana YouTube channel, it actually has the alternate version, and Chad Channing is in that video, and it is the Chad Channing version of the song, and it is different. But really, the difference, like in the drumming between Chad and Dave's versions, they're pretty much identical outside of like a couple fills that Dave adds to it. Otherwise, it's the same song, drum wise, except like you said, Dave fucking hits those drums so goddamn hard, and you really hear it compared to the Chad's version and Dave's version. You can really, really hear the difference in that.
And I think,
but the overall song is the same.
I was trying to watch like this other guy who was really pretentious and annoying about like sound decay in the studio, and when drummers are hitting things like light and getting a good pop off of it, you're getting like more of a decay or more of like a resonance. There's more noise after the sticks are releasing from the drums as opposed to hitting it hard, because when you're hitting it harder, the drums are staying on the drum head longer, right? Because you're hitting it harder, so there's not as much decay, so it is actually kind of crispier overall, but it doesn't sound as crispy because when you're hitting it lighter like that, you're getting that pop right away, but then there's more decay afterwards. So when Grohl's doing it and he's hitting it really, really, really hard, it's just one full sound. It's just it's like a thud versus like a snap.
It fucking makes sense though.
So good.
It is
so good.
So you fuck, you didn't see that video. I was hoping you'd watch it. I think I sent it to you separately.
If you sent it to me, I watched it. I don't recall like explicitly.
It was
on it, but
because so the not the official, but the one that the video that everybody knows, where they're kind of dressed properly and they're like in suits, and then they're playing like on a fake TV show and everything.
Oh, the music video?
Yeah, the music video.
Yeah.
Did you watch the alternate version one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the original version of In Bloom with Chad.
I honestly didn't even know, because he has long hair and he's a little skinny white kid. He looks just like Dave Grohl.
No, it's not Dave Grohl at all.
I didn't even notice that it wasn't Dave Grohl, honestly.
Yeah, no, that was Chad. That was Chad in the video.
But like they're both skinny white kids at the time with long fucking black hair. Dude, they look like Dave Grohl.
But Chad's like a shorter guy. He doesn't look that much.
But he's sitting down. How fucking tall they are when they're sitting down. They all look like they're 2 feet.
But yeah, no, that's the that's the other video.
I like the alternate one more than I did the actual one. The actual one was just was too cheesy.
Oh, the video, not the song, right?
Oh yeah, the video, the song, my 1B.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so In Bloom is my 8B.
That's silly.
So I mean, I love this song.
It's too poppy, too overproduced. What is it?
I fucking love this song.
What do you got?
Don't be dumb.
Say something. Say something.
So what I outside of Dave's drumming on this song, I love Kurt's, the way he sings the end of the verses leading into the chorus is great, because in the verses you hear this build up. He's singing like the beginning of the verse is he's singing in a lower tone, lower register, and then it gets higher and higher and higher, and it builds until the end of the verse, and then it goes the hey, and then he sings hey, and then Dave does that drum roll, and then it's in this happy, uplifting thing during the chorus, and I love that build up, that transition between the two parts, the verse and the chorus. I think it's fucking awesome. And this is just outside of what Dave plays, because I think Dave is the the best part of this song. His drumming is the best part.
It's that
Easily.
before the chorus, right? Like this is one of the songs, and they have several songs on the album like this, but this is the song where like the chorus is so different than the verse. Like it's so fucking different.
Yeah.
The verses are almost like, compared to the chorus, like almost like throwaway. They're just filler. They just kind of like swing a little bit, kind of zombie like back and forth. And you get that blast drum roll that leads into the chorus. And this chorus is so fucking catchy. It's so
It is.
pretty. It even says
It's
it
so
in the
swingy,
chorus.
too.
It's so pretty.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful, and it's so sarcastic and douchey and gatekeepy and fucking he's an asshole for writing it. So good. Who cares?
Oh man, this song is fantastic. I mean, Chris doesn't really shine too much on this one. We haven't gotten to the point where
he's got cool bass lines though. There's parts of this where he writes, dude, he hits those real high notes. He's going all the way up.
Yeah, I guess so.
This one's cool too because I was reading that Kurt used a Mesa Boogie amp for the verses and then a Fender for the choruses, and I've
Makes
Bradley
perfect
Noel
sense.
used a Mesa Boogie for a long time, and one day I would like to buy one for myself. But like those verses are very like verby, but kind of very like that Sublime kind of punk sound. That's what they sound like.
They're I wouldn't say chuggier, but they have more of a crunch.
Yeah.
The Mesa Boogies have more of a crunch, and then you get into the Fender, which is much airier, much lighter, and that's why you have. I mean, maybe that's another reason why the chorus is like that, because the tone, the guitar tone, and everything on top of the vocal melody.
So sick.
It's killer, man. It's
Did
killer.
you read and then listen to the Lil Nas X song that supposedly ripped this off?
I did not.
So
I did
apparently,
not.
like he wrote this song called Panini
Oh, God.
that he came out with, and then the chorus in his song sounds kind of like this. The chorus here, similar.
God,
Not
dude,
even
that is so catchy.
not even like kind of close, but like it's pretty similar. And so everyone was like, "Oh fuck yeah, Lil Nas X covering Nirvana," and he's like, "What? Like I'm not covering Nirvana. I just wrote a song." And so then,
Does
like,
he even know who Nirvana was?
no. So what does he do? He actually gives credit to Cobain because he said it's close enough. I don't want to fuck with it. I'm gonna give him credit. And then
Damn.
listened to Nevermind and said he loved it and said that's the reason why he got into Nirvana. And I would say, Lil Nas X as like a musician, just dumb fucking music, throwaway music.
terrible
I don't
music.
care. But the more I like read about him as a person, I love this kid. I think he's fucking cool. Everything I
I've
read
never
about
read
him
anything
is
about him.
always cool. He's just
I
always
never- yeah,
fucking. He's just always like defying shit and pissing people off and doing things that make everyone think like, why the fuck are you doing this? Because I fucking want to. That's why. little punker, but dumbass music, and the song sucked, dude. Don't listen to it.
Yeah, what's the country? What's the country song that he did?
Old
the country
Town
hip hop
Road?
song. Yeah, dude, that song is garbage, pure garbage.
Yeah, but it pissed
It's-
it pissed a lot of people off.
I did, yeah. I love that it pissed off like the pop country people because, he's a hip hop guy. They can't be in our
Yeah,
scene or anything like that. I just love how I do like that part of it, but yeah, that song is absolute garbage.
it's so bad.
All right. So we did talk about Teen Spirit already, obviously, but we didn't touch upon that video, which I don't really care to touch upon it. And I only bring that up now because we've talked about the In Bloom video, and I think out of all the videos from this album, this is the best video.
The alt or the regular one?
Both of them, actually. I think they're the best videos. I think Come As You Are is just a lame. It's just like a too artsy fartsy kind of 90s music
Artsy
video.
fartsy. What are you, like 60 years old?
And then Lithium is just like clips from their live performances. It's nothing special, really.
So I agree. I think like even though it's goofy and kind of sell out ish, it does seem like they had a good time doing the In Bloom video, the real one. The
Yeah.
alternate one, I think that's so fucking cool because it's very like Bleach era, very 90s. It's so fucking 90s, and it's just goofy and like you see Kurt's face like right in the middle a lot, and he's smiling and kind of grinning and goofing off, and like, oh man, that's cool. Like you guys
And the
had
weird
fun.
like video effects too, like the filters on the video.
Yeah,
just
just
so of its time.
so dumb, dude. Just so
Yeah.
dated. But I will say that the video for "Smells Like Teen Spirit," if that song was just any other song, if that song was fucking like Lithium, like who gives a shit about that video? But because it smells like Teen Spirit, that's just, my God, it's an iconic video.
Yeah, and
Because
it's
of
the
the song,
sweater, it's the sweater, it's the guitar, the Jaguar guitar,
Yeah.
Fender guitar. It's just everything. And then Chris Novoselic he's tall, he's like 6'5", 6'6". He has the bass is down to his fucking knees.
And he
You know,
plays it so
everything-
obnoxiously low. It's irritating. Tim
And then
Armstrong's
Dave
that
Grohl,
shit.
you can't even see him because his hair is so long that it just covers his entire face.
That's funny too, but In Bloom is because Chris cut his hair for the video for In Bloom and then liked it and then kept it for a very long time. I think
That's true.
To
Yeah,
this day.
even on In Utero, he didn't have very long hair, but then he's bald, like, so he doesn't really have hair anymore. But yeah, that's true, huh?
Okay.
Even
What's your
Kurt
1B?
cut his hair too.
Here we go.
But-
What's your 1B? Let's hear it.
Wait,
Those nameless is my
we're not going to
1B.
do anything lyrically on
fucking
In Bloom,
deal,
right? Because we just kind of don't care.
I mean, it's more so about like what the song is about as a whole, as opposed to like the individual parts. And this one pokes fun at like jocks and people who weren't a part of the scene until they got popular. Like this is like their gatekeeping song, really. But this was an era when people were a lot more mean. Actually, they're pretty fucking mean now. But at least like back in the 90s, people were mean to your face, not like online they are now.
That's true. That's true too. See, for In Bloom, I got this. I feel like he's criticizing like hillbilly people and really culture in general and how kind of simplistic and animalistic people are. Like I think it's in the chorus. I'm looking at it real quick. Where is it?
When he likes to shoot his gun.
Yeah, when he likes to shoot his gun, like.
So I
So
think
like
they wrote this
in
song
the second verse, in the second verse he says, "We can have some more. Nature is a whore. Bruises on the fruit, tender age and bloom." I feel like it's like he's criticizing like the Midwest and like how people all they care about is just not fucking young girls, but it's just like it's very much like you know, you get married young, you have kids young, you just there's no real culture. The culture is just like animalistic. It's not, there's no art, there's no anything like that. Like nobody really has like a personality, and I feel like that's kind of what he's talking about in the song, if that makes any fucking sense.
I cannot fucking believe this is so low on your banger list. It's so stupid.
It's not though. It's
so
not low.
Stupid.
It's my 8B.
This
It's
is
my
this
8B.
is this is to you. This is a worse song than "Smells Like Teen Spirit," and you hate Teen Spirit.
I love Teen Spirit. I love every song. I don't. Every song on this record is a banger.
Oh, so this is a perfect record. Like I said earlier, you
Well,
pretended like it wasn't. So
I don't know about that.
that's fine.
We don't know yet. But the biggest banger on this record is Lounge Act. Right now, for me, it's Lounge
dude.
Act. That's my one.
Why do you have to be like this person who has to go against the grain for the purpose of just going against the grain?
I don't.
Like, why do you gotta still wear your AFI T-shirts and your Tiger Army shirts and things? Like, why? Just, it's fine. It's okay.
Where does this sit as a banger for you?
It's 11B.
Why though? Why do you hate this one?
So first of all, I thought this was funny, but Kurt sounds older in the beginning of this song. It just sounds older
Yeah.
the way he sings. It's like, dude, who's singing this? Is this Kurt? No way. It's like a 35-year-old man.
He does sing in like a lower register on this one.
But I think this song is great. I really do. There's a lot of really cool like psych rock stuff going on. Chris's bass line, very fucking psych rock, dude. Fucking dope. Love it. And then Kurt's like screaming vocals, super great. They're amazing. But like, one thing that really bothered me about this whole record, why even add that little production fade at the end of this song? That really bothered me.
Why though?
Because it's so unnecessary. That's just like, that's literally overstepping your boundaries as a producer. That's just saying, I'm going to do this because I think it's good. I don't give a fuck what the band thinks. I think this is good. I'm the producer. I'm gonna do what I want. And that really, really bothered me. The very end. It's a very like swell,
No, I know what
like
you're talking about.
like that organ shit you fucking gobble up from Enema era. Ugh.
I love it.
Why you do it, dude?
All he's doing is like turning
Know your role.
He's just turning like the volume down. It's nothing crazy.
Know your role. Stay in your lane. It's not your fucking band, butch. Boots.
So what one thing I love so much about this song is kind of how lazy Kurt is, how lazy he sounds in the verses, and then it just kind of builds and builds and builds, and then it comes back into what is it? I think it comes back into the verse and he's like screams it, or he comes back into one of the choruses and he just like screams it, and you're like, whoa, like you don't expect it because you've just there's it's not really a buildup. It's kind of a jarring thing that he does because you hear one thing and then all of a sudden he goes screams. Because what?
He has a good scream. It's not a scream like in the sense of like Chester screamed, where like that's a good fucking scream. Kurt screams like somebody who's just frustrated and they don't know what else to say, so they just scream because they're so fucking frustrated. And that's the type of scream Kurt had. And that's cool because you don't hear that. That's an emotional scream.
Yeah, and I love that. I love it so much. And it really just shows, like, Chester, you bring up Chester. He is a great singer, a great screamer, but it sounds forced. It doesn't sound like it's just placed there because it's supposed to be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Kurt, and then, Jonathan Davis from Korn. I know you're probably going to disagree with me on this, but they didn't scream just for the sake of it. It was placed there for a reason, because whether it's the lyrics or the music or something, it's appropriate. It sounds natural. It sounds normal. But
sure.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Well, not that part. I was talking more like on songs, like some of the songs on Life is Peachy, and then the song Daddy and stuff like that.
Dude, Daddy I have a love-hate relationship with. Sometimes that song is so fucking stupid.
But it's so good.
It's just like, shut the fuck up. I don't care. But then sometimes I'm like, oh, wow, that was an emotional roller coaster, and I love it.
It really is, man.
But sometimes I fucking hate it. Sometimes I think it's just the dumbest thing ever, and I don't want to hear your problems, bro. Shut the fuck up.
But so in Lounge Act, you didn't like the opening with the bass line or anything? That's a pretty cool bass line.
I'm saying Chris's bass line and overall in this is very psych rock. This is throwing back to like their cover of Love Buzz. That's Shocking Blue.
Great.
That's the band that sings that song Venus. I'm your Venus, I'm your fire.
That song is so bad.
You only know the Bananarama version. You don't know you don't know the Shocking Blue.
Oh, that's
version.
right. We did have a fight about that once.
I have them on the vinyls because that's a fucking killer band. They also sing that song Send Me a Postcard. Send me a postcard, darling. So good. But anyway,
I don't know
these guys listen to psychedelic rock. These are kids that grew up listening to a lot of different music that, again, put it together in this cauldron and came out with like this. Nevermind. Nevermind is just a better bleach, a more concise, a more refined bleach. And yes, I do like that bass line because it is psych rock. It is very bleach sounding. It is very early Nirvana sounding. It is like the beginnings. This is where like their inspirations kind of come through in their playing, and Chris like rips it up. I fucking absolutely love his bass lines.
Yeah, I mean, this is, I think this and this Territorial Pistons and Drain You are probably his best, at least my favorite bass lines on the entire record. But what I wanted to talk about in Lounge Act is the guitar riff, the main guitar riff. It's a very punk driven riff, but it's played very slowly. It just has that, I don't even know what it's called. They're not chicka chickas. They're just kind of like this lazy kind of just patterns that he plays. It's just, I can't explain it, but it's a very punk driven song, but it's played like at half speed. It's a really, really weird.
I like how overall lazy this album is too. How lazy Nirvana plays in general.
Yeah.
I like that.
The only thing, I mean, I like that too, but the way this album sounds, like overall, like with just how polished it sounds, you don't hear that laziness as much because of it. Like you hear it on In Utero, obviously.
It's not even like fucking. It's not some like Madonna, like a virgin pop thing that's super polished. It's not even that polished. There's a lot of things on it that sound like shit.
I think I'm just saying that, comparing it to In Utero and Bleach, which just sounds
because
so...
In Utero is like purposefully
insane.
raw, and that's it's annoying. It even annoys me even more now. And Bleach is unpolished because they just weren't as good.
And it was $600 to record the record.
Yeah, it was $600. That's what you do. $600, you know. That's funny.
All right, so I'm going to play a little bit of Lounge Act. We'll get into it a little bit more and then move on. So here, so here's Lounge Act from the Nirvanas. Dude, it gets me every fucking time, man. When he transitions into that screaming part, because he screams the chorus and then he screams the verse after it. It's God, it's so goddamn
as your
good.
1B though. As
Yeah,
your 1B.
Yeah, and you know, like we were talking about, Chris playing is awesome. I mean, not just that intro bass line. It's during the verses. I wouldn't say it's squirrely necessarily, but he has some great shit going on there. It's man, this song is unreal. It's
your
really
top
catchy
five,
too.
If your top 5 consists of Stay Away, Territorial Pissings, and Breathe, I'm done. I'm logging off. We're done. That's it for the night. That's it. We're done.
Buckle up, baby boy.
Because that is so fucking basic. That is so basic.
Oh my God, you're
it's
so
so
exhausting.
basic. What's your 2B? What do you got?
What's your 2B?
I'm vastly more curious on what your 2B is.
I want to know what your 2B is. That's how we do this. That's the order.
My 2B's Drain You.
Oh, it is? Okay. My 2B is Stay Away.
Okay, this for the.
But
I want to keep going here. I want to keep going. What's your 3B?
Why are we doing this?
Because you're
yell at
so
me?
fucking predictable and pathetic. That's what it is.
No.
You're so predictable. You're pee-pee. Predictable and pathetic. You're pee-pee.
So my 2B, like I said, is Stay Away. My 3B is Drain You. I love Drain You.
Oh, you fuckface. Okay. You just changed right now. I heard you clicking.
I did not.
I heard you clicking.
Territorial Pissings is my 5.
And then what's Breed?
Breed is my 4.
You're such a... you're pee-pee. You're pee-pee. I don't
But
know what
hey,
pee-pee
Drain
stands
You's in
for.
there, right? Drain You's in there.
God, you're so predictable and pathetic. That's what you are. Yeah.
That's fine. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, predictable and pathetic. You're one-dimensional. You're a piece of paper instead of like a
Why
cube.
though? But why?
Why are you a piece of paper? Because you're predictable.
No.
All those songs are very, very similar. All those songs are just
They're not,
basically
though.
the punk songs of the album. You essentially just chose
They're
the punk
faster
songs of
songs.
the albums.
But they're
Yeah,
still
listen.
unique.
To each other? No. No, they're not.
That's wrong. That's wrong.
No.
So, okay, let's get into Drain You since this is your 2B. What do you got?
Then
That's the
So
that's the
good.
only part I hate is that it starts out
I
with
love
Kurt
that
singing.
part. Because again, fuck you. I sound like shit. I don't care. I'm going to do it. And Kurt loved this song, dude. He loved to play this song.
Yeah,
That's
they
like one
play
of his
this
most
all the
favorite
time.
songs. God damn,
Yep.
the song is so good. There's so much like subtle strain in his vocals. Like during the verses, there's a lot of like strain there. There's a lot of parts that he just can't
Mm-hmm.
really quite sing this song that well. And I love when the verses like are catchy. I love when the verses are the catchy parts and the choruses just serve the verses because it's so opposite of what we're used to in pop music, right? Like the verses serve the chorus, but now this is a song where the verses are so much better than the chorus. The choruses they're fine. It's whatever. But let's
Yeah.
get back into the verse, baby. Let's get back into the verse. Dude, in this bridge, right? Oh my God. His friend of the pod, Skip, mentioned here. It is Sabbath-like. And he's mentioned
Mm-hmm.
like Electric Funeral, that bridge part, Electric Funeral. This is very Sabbath-like. This is us. Like we just wrote this really cute pop song. We just wrote this really great verse. How can we fuck it up? And that's what they did in this bridge here. How can we screw this up? How can we make this like not accessible to the masses because it's not what we do as a band? And then they did it.
They did, and they, to the point where like it has all the weird sounds, the rubber ducky and the rubber duck and everything. It's just it's kind of cheesy, but it's so good. And then it goes back into him screaming and back into that happy chorus, or the happy verses.
That's my favorite part of the album is when the instrumental melody kicks. Instrumentality. That's a good word. Instrumentality. The instrumental melody hits before the third verse kicks in. When it's just a and then they come in. Like that part alone right there. That's God tier, dude. That's S tier if we're doing the RPG system there. That's S tier.
And then let's talk about Dave's drumming too. It's very swingy. It's very unique. He has some really great parts, great transitions between the verses and the choruses. I think his drumming and Kurt's melodies in the verses are the highlights of this song. Absolutely the highlights.
He's got some weird parts too, like like he double taps the snare in a spot that's kind of hard to like catch on to. And like as I listen to these, they're so fucking catchy. Like I just can't help but like air drum to them. And
It's so fun.
It takes a good minute for me to catch on where he's double tapping that snare because it's a little bit weird. It's a little bit quirky. It's not a conventional double tap to lead into like the third beat or things like that. It's a little bit weird. And
It is.
I like that. And this is the
that's
one.
what makes him so unique as a drummer.
This is the one that earlier you said too that like Butch had to sneak in guitar dubs because Kurt didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
But which leads to more of the end product being something Kurt loved because we would have heard so much about like fuck this, I can't believe Butch Vig did this, but like no, dude, Kurt loved everything about this, even those overdubs and the guitars on Drain You.
And then what I like another way that he kind of tricked Kurt into doing more takes was by telling him, well, John Lennon did it. He did multiple takes on the Beatles songs. I love like he would try to like, I wouldn't say manipulate him, but he would just straight up lie to him and trick him. It's so fucking funny.
Because he's like
Kurt
25
is such a fucking
years
baby.
Old. Yeah, he's a baby. He's a junkie. He's 25. He doesn't know what the fuck he wants. He's kind of like a prissy little whiner. And you hired this big time producer, right? You hired this guy to do his fucking job. And
but at this time, he wasn't a big time producer, though. Really,
he was still doing things. He was still getting paid big bucks, though. He wasn't like S tier producer here, but he was still getting paid like big bucks here to do a specific job. And Nick, he had already done stuff. He was already doing stuff. So whatever. But you hire this guy to do his job, and then after the fact, you kind of like shit on him for doing his job, and then. I don't know. It just looked bad. It just looked bad.
Going back into Butch Vig, isn't it fucking crazy? You know, he did this Nevermind record, and then he went on and did Gish and Siamese Dream.
Gish was before this record. He did Gish before this one. Yeah.
Oh, was it right before this?
So like,
I guess it was 91. Yeah, they're both 91. Yeah.
But like after this is when he really like hit his stride, obviously, and then even like went on to work with the Foo Fighters, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, he's done a few of the records. He did the one in like 2012. I can't remember the name of it right now, but that was actually a really good one. That was a really good Foo Fighters record.
I'm sure.
You're the worst.
I'm sure it was great.
Oh god.
It's funny because I was actually this week too. I listened to 2 Foo Fighter records. Their first one, or Girl's, I guess, first record, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, it's all Grohl.
And then the one that Grohl said was his favorite, I can't remember the name was, but it's the one that has the cover with the Foo Fighter tattoo on the back of the neck that has like Learn to Fly on it.
Oh yeah, what is that one? Everything Left to Lose or something?
Something like that.
Yeah.
I think Grohl had said that was like his favorite thing that favorite Foo Fighter record that he's ever done. And I was like, okay, let me hear this one. Nah, boring. Fucking boring. Even like Learn to Fly. Kind of a boring song. I don't like it.
Yeah. It's the video that makes it.
Yeah, the video.
The song is pretty mediocre. It's like the band OK Go. Great videos. Okay songs.
I forgot about that band. The Treadmill Band, right?
The Treadmill, yeah. Did all the crazy videos.
What fucking song do they even have?
It's funny because I can't remember it, and then Tammy has brought it up before. She's like, "Oh, it's this song," and she'll sing it. I'm like, "Oh, I know that song right now," but off the top of my head, I can't remember what it is.
I wonder what song, because I know I've watched that Treadmill video dozens of times because it was a really cool video. But I have no idea what
you
the
would
song
recognize
is.
the song. You would instantly recognize it. But
I
can't remember.
It wasn't that great because I don't remember it.
It's weird. It's a weird thing.
Look at that.
So let's play a little bit of Drain You, get more into it a little bit, and then move on. So here it is from the Nirvanas. It's Dave's drums, man. His playing on this song is just, his beats are great. They're fantastic.
But like, we love Dave. We do. We love his drum beats. But come on, dude. It's these melodies. The melodies on this album is what makes this album. And I know we can pretend. I know you can pretend like "Stay Away's your favorite," and "Territorial Pistons," and "Breathe." All the punk songs are my favorite. But like, fuck off, dude. You listen to this album. You listen to Nirvana because of Kurt and his melodies and his basic fucking guitar playing. The fact that he can like Blink 182 his way into just playing basic power chords and create a melody with said power chords, and then a better melody with his vocals on top of the already great melody he just created with his guitar. Don't even pretend like that's not what it is. I know you. I know you better than you know yourself, and that is what's happening, even though you pretend that's not what's happening.
You're wrong.
I'm not wrong at fucking all. I'm not lying to myself like you do and pretend. Oh my god, it's so irritating. Ugh.
So
What is
yeah, what?
what does
were we
Come
gonna
As
say?
You Are sit? Where does Come As You Are sit?
Come As You Are sits as my 11B.
That's my 10B.
Okay, so we're kind of on the same page there.
That one's interesting. I really don't like that song that much, to be honest.
Wait, so we'll touch upon that, but let's wrap up. Let's wrap up Train You real quick. Do you have anything lyrically on this one or no?
I think this is a good old fashioned like Nirvana love song. I really do. And once over with the lyrics, I think that's what he's trying to get you to feel is some type of love. Maybe not specific between like a man and a woman, or just like a love thing. But I think it's supposed to be like a love song, and that's what he had in mind when he wrote the lyrics.
I kind of feel the same thing. I think it's about being so in love and obsessed with this person that it eventually drains her, and then she just wants to leave. Like he just exhausts her emotionally because he's just so overbearing and so obsessed. That's what I got on that one. I don't think it's
God, I
much
love
deeper
this
than
song.
that.
This
It's a
song is so
great
good.
fucking song, man. It's a great song. And did you see like prior to them recording this, they had gone over, I guess like Kurt and Dave had gone to the who is it? The guy from the Melvins, the drummer, Dale Crover. Yeah,
Oh,
Dale
yeah.
Crover.
Crover.
Gone over to their house and they recorded. They formed a band, like a very short-lived band, for like 4 days, and they ended up recording this song prior to
What's the
Nirvana
name of the
together.
band?
I'll just say it's the Retards.
Yeah.
Not PC nowadays, not appropriate, but that was the name
He
of the
said
band
that
back then.
he said that Kurt was like very into like forming bands just for like a week, and yeah, that was like the band that they formed
Yeah,
that one day. I never knew that Buzz and Kurt were actually kind of pretty damn close. Like
I
didn't know
I never knew that either.
like they knew each other for he was 3 years older, so when they met, like Buzz was kind of like his mentor essentially.
Well, Buzz was the one who helped him find. Did he help him find Dave Grohl? I think that's what it was, right?
It was Chris, because Chris would show up
Was it
to
Chris?
the
Okay.
Melvins practice, and he was like, "Hey, dude, like you should meet this kid like Kurt," and like, "Hey, Kurt, you should meet Chris," like,
Mm,
and that was kind of it.
that's right. That's what it was.
Honestly, like I meant to make a note of it, and I looked it up, but I don't know how they met Dave Grohl. I think he was just in a different band or something.
He was in Scream. He was in a hardcore band called Scream.
Not that
And what?
hard. Not that hard.
What do you mean not that hard?
They weren't that hard.
They were a hardcore punk band.
All right.
I mean, yeah, they're fine. I don't really care for that
Yeah.
band, but yeah, no, that's how they saw a screenplay and they really liked Dave's playing. So Chad had just left the band, and then they invited Dave to audition, and then Dave went. The story goes, Dave walked into the room and saw Kurt and Chris, and were like, "These are the guys that wrote Bleach." Like he couldn't believe like how short Kurt was and how tall Chris was, and he's like, he said something along the lines like, on the cover it makes them look like they're like these big lumberjack guys who make this crazy punk music, and you see them in real life and you're just like,
It's true.
it was almost like
They do look
disappointed.
taller on the cover.
Yeah, but Kurt was a short guy. I think he was like maybe 5'8", 5'9".
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, it
that's
wasn't-
not that short, but
Oh, it's not that short, but I mean, yeah. But
for everybody out there,
for-
Tyler's like 6'2" or some fucking
I'm 6'1".
giant
but-
fuck.
but, you know-
freaking nature.
when you see Kurt Cobain, you see him as this like larger than life person thing, you know. So you expect him to be a tall guy, I guess. I don't know.
I think it's
yeah.
I mean, just off of the whole Dave Grohl thing. I watched their induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and Dave spoke first, and like the first thing he kind of did was tell people like, don't forget, guys, like Nirvana had like 3 drummers prior to me. When
Yeah.
I came in, they were already a band. They'd already released a fantastic album. He said, I would not be here, and then listed off like all the drummers. He said,
Yep.
especially like Chad Channing, like huge shout out, man. Like you are the reason why I'm even here. Like you are a great drummer, and like that was fucking amazing. That was so cool that he did that.
Did you read like the kind of like the backstory behind all that as well
The
with Chad
The
and
speech?
the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? No,
like how Chad thought he was going to be invited,
Well,
and then
he
wasn't
was-
invited.
the Nirvana's management said that he was reserved to go, like, and he was going to be inducted, and then like a week before the event, they pretty much said, no, you're not going to be inducted, you're not invited anymore, and it was like a huge fuck you to him. But no, he was under the impression, because they pretty much told him that he was going to be inducted, and he should have been, and people have made a good point. People who have done less in other bands have been inducted, like the Red Hot Chili Peppers, all the guys who have been inducted in that band, Chad Channing did way more for Nirvana than some of the guys in the Chili Peppers.
It's definitely just like we're essentially inducting or the Nevermind iteration of Nirvana. That's what's happening.
Yeah. And it's so unfair, because Chad did, he did all of Bleach, but he also did a lot he did a lot for Nevermind as well. He's just not credited for it, but he did do a lot.
He's credited on drums. He's credited on Poly.
On Poly, but also, what he
did
with
drums on Poly.
He's not credited on In Bloom, which he should be, because he wrote that part. That's his drum part,
Yeah.
And some of these other songs were being played, 2-3 years prior to Nevermind even being recorded, which Chad was on, and on top of that, look at Incesticide. Yeah, it's a compilation, but Chad's on a lot of those fucking songs. So the snub it's pretty fucked up. That's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, absolutely. And then I was kind of like curious, because I Googled a lot about like what did Chris have to say after Kurt died, and what did like Chad have to say, or what did Dave have to say. And then after reading how close Buzz was with Kurt, I was like, what did Buzz have to say? Because really, he kind of knew Kurt longer and more intimately than anybody else, because Kurt looked up to Buzz. Kurt didn't like look up to Chris in the same way. They were just bandmates.
They were friends.
They were friends, but they were like bandmates. But like Kurt really looked up to Buzz. Like he wanted to be like him. He wanted to be the Melvins. And then the Melvins album Houdini, right? That grunge album that they were going to do for Atlantic, or they did for Atlantic, but they wanted Kurt to produce the whole thing, and he was too fucked up on heroin, and they fired him. They got rid of him. They said, "You can't do this anymore, dude. You can't be here." But they didn't like take it public, because that's nobody's business. And so then I kind of like looked up what Buzz had to say about Kurt's death, and it was like more sad than everybody else, because he felt like a son died almost. He felt like somebody, like Buzz knew Kurt looked up to him. Buzz knew that.
Yeah.
And so when Kurt died, if he said it felt like his son had died, he felt like somebody that looked up to him, somebody that admired him. And he said he felt like he let him down. And that was really sad, because Dave still kind of talks about it and doesn't really talk about it that much. And he wrote like whatever memoir book he wrote in the past several years, I guess there's a whole chapter devoted to it for the first time that he's ever really opened up about it. But Dave came in late, man. Like Dave only knew Kurt for a handful of years. And that's a lot, because they're touring the world together and they're living together. But by that time, Dave really never did any like hard drugs and anything like that. Never discouraged Kurt from doing it the way Buzz did. Buzz tried to get Kurt off the drugs. So I don't know. That was really sad. If you want to go down a really sad rabbit hole, like
I haven't gone down that.
What Buzz had said about Kurt's death is really sad.
Yeah, that's terrible. It makes sense though. It really does.
And there's really not like we shouldn't talk about it, because that's not what we're doing on the pod. But it's hard to talk about Nirvana without even bringing up that aspect of Nirvana, the band.
True.
Because as we mentioned earlier before, like the hindsight 2020 thing, when somebody in the band dies, their earlier works are now like put under a microscope even more. Say, oh, look at this part when he says, "When I swear I don't have a gun." Does that mean something? It's like, no, dude, none of this shit means fucking anything. Like that's the biggest thing. The biggest takeaway from Nirvana's lyrics is none of this shit means anything. It's all fucking stupid. Listen to the melodies, the music, the drums, the guitar, the bass. The lyrics are fucking garbage.
You know I was thinking about it this week with Nirvana. They put out 3 records in 4 years, and they're considered one of the most popular, influential bands of all time. Like that, they were a band from 87 to 94, but they put out 3 records in 4 years, which is crazy. It's crazy how much music they put out in that short amount of time, and how different they all sound from one another, and also how influential each of them are. How influential
ways.
Each of them are, in different fucking ways. It's crazy, man. It's totally fucking crazy. But it's like you don't think about that. You think you think of Nirvana as like this band that was around for decades or whatever, because they're always being talked about constantly in the media, on radio or wherever. You know, you're always reading about Nirvana or seeing the logo somewhere. So it feels like they're still around, but they were not around for very fucking long at all.
No,
it's insane.
And we could have a whole other podcast because I did look up a lot about podcast. I did look up a lot about Courtney Love too, and fuck, man, my hatred for her is like reignited.
Right? She's a pretty terrible person.
She's the fucking worst. That's all I'll say.
Terrible.
Don't want to get into it. It's just gonna make me mad. So she is the fucking worst.
Yeah. Yeah,
Fuck
she's pretty
her.
despicable. Pretty despicable. And then, you know, like because we're still in grunge season, you know, we listened to that first Hole record last week. That record fucking sucks.
Yeah.
She's not great. Not good.
No.
Yeah. Stupid
the fact
shit.
that she makes any money from this whatsoever fucking irritates me.
Yeah. All the lawsuits. Oh, we're not even going to get into that shit.
It's just going to make me mad. Yeah. So let's
All right,
get into your 3B. We already.
Well, I thought we were going to do Come As You Are.
Let's get into all the. Okay, let's do Come As You Are. Yeah.
We don't have to spend a lot of time on it, but it was a big single, a big song. Still is a big song. So what do you have on this one?
Well, it's arguably like their second biggest song of all time. Like Come As You Are.
Is it though?
It's the fucking the logo for that stupid town that nobody gives a shit about. Where Kurt was
Aberdeen.
And that riff, I mean, it's so oh god, so many things just rolling off my head here. The fact that it was stolen from the Killing Joke and also the Damn songs, it's the fucking progression. Dude. It's a chord progression. It's a note progression. Who cares? Get over it. Who cares? It's fine. Fuck off. Relax. Nobody's doing anything.
I like the effects on that guitar though, with that main riff, that doom 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 boom. Just the reverb on it is so nice.
The riff is solid. But I think it's the most pop-like song on the album. Something kind of like lukewarm that is good in every way, but never gets great.
Yeah.
And that's what this song for me is. So much verb. The song also has a good swing to it. Like In Bloom has a good swing to it, but this one doesn't feel as natural. Everything just kind of feels like everything's just forced. Like the laid backness in Kurt's voice, it just sounds forced.
It seems forced, and this song is the only song on the record that seems like it's cookie cutter. It was almost like it feels like they spliced it all together afterwards. Like it's different parts because the chorus hits pretty hard, but it has that big, loud, distorted guitars. The melody's there, but there's no like real transition between. I don't feel like there's a good transition between the verses and the choruses. Not like in other songs. In other songs, Dave absolutely kills it with his transitions, but Come As You Are is very minimal, but not in a good way.
Yeah, exactly. I think everything's just kind of weak, but I don't know. It's
still
fine.
a great song, though. It's still a fucking great song.
Like I would never change this song. And this one and Smell Like Teen Spirit we jam to, just because they're so fun to play, and then we can just transition between one or the other, and it's really fun. But I do really like the part where Kurt jumps the gun on the part. He says, "I don't have a gun."
Yeah.
He says it too early, and I guess that was like a mistake he did in studio, and they left it on the album.
Yeah, that's pretty rad.
Butch Vig was like, yeah, that sounds pretty fucking dope, dude. We should leave that on the album. Your mistake there. See? It's not all overproduced. These are things that happen, dude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a killer part. That's like my favorite part of the song. Oh, it's so good.
This is one of the few songs on the record that has like I wouldn't say a proper solo, but one that actually stands out, even though he's just following the melody with the guitar. And he recorded that guitar solo in 2 takes, vocals in 3 takes. So just another example of like how minimalistic, how little input was put into actually making this record. Like it's just, it still blows my mind how popular this record is, and they just made it so haphazardly. The more I think about it, I just don't think it's overproduced. I think yes, maybe there's too many tracks, there's too many guitar tracks, maybe vocal tracks, if that's what you think is overproduced. But otherwise, like, no, I think this is still just at its core, I think a bunch of kids writing a fucking ton of really, really good songs. But like I was saying, it's not like the overdubbing, because there's very little of it. To me, it's always been the guitars. The guitars sound too clean, even though, yeah, there's a lot of distortion and all that shit. but they sound too clean. But like I was saying earlier, that's only because I'm comparing it to Bleach and In Utero, which is not fair by any means. It's not fair. But that's all I have to go. That's all I have to go off of, are those two records. So,
dude, like, this is a band that, because they put out only 3 records, all 3 of those records could have been done by a different band, because they are so vastly different. And it's not even just like Bleach is so different than In Utero, but like each album has its strengths and weaknesses that are vastly different than the other ones.
mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. It's weird. It's bizarre. It's crazy.
Yeah, and another thing we haven't touched upon it at all is Dave Grohl's background vocals. So kind of going back a little bit to In Bloom, Dave Grohl has a lot of not a lot of input, but he has a lot of background vocals harmonizing with Kurt. And I never really thought about it until a couple years ago. I came across a video that Butch Vig did, where he was breaking down this record, and he played just the vocal takes of In Bloom during the chorus, and Kurt and Dave's vocals are perfect with one another, because Dave, I guess when Dave was recording his parts, he was having a hard time hitting these higher notes, because I mean, he's a drummer, he's not a singer yet, so he was having a hard time, but Butch really pushed him to keep going, keep trying, and he did. And when you hear those isolated vocals with Kurt and Dave, it's fucking solid. It's really, really good. And then when you hear, did you hear those at all or no?
You didn't send them to me. I didn't know there was.
I know.
I didn't know
I totally forgot.
You sent me an hour and a half long of Live at the Paramount that I watched. You told me to listen to this 4-hour box set that I listened to, but you didn't send me a 2-minute isolated vocal track? What's going on here? What's going on?
I was just so excited about Nirvana this week that I just wanted to show you stuff that I know you've never heard or seen, and I love this band so much. I just wanted you to hear what I've heard, but no, it's really neat. It's really neat hearing those isolated takes together, and God, I can only imagine what it would have been like after In Utero had Kurt not died, and like if Dave and Kurt had made it more of a collaboration, it could have been really something really, really fucking cool.
Just like all speculative, right? Because all speculative, but I honestly do think that they were going in line with more folk, maybe like more orchestral arrangements. I think they were going into more production with their next album, because there is a lot of production going into In Utero. There is a lot of things that they're doing. And then when you see the performance for the Unplugged, those same like tricks that they're now using with guitars, now they have a live cellist. They have multiple guitarists now. So I think their next album would have been, they would have hired studio musicians. They would have hired an orchestra. They'd have done a lot of things like that. It would have been a big, big production. Something along the lines of like Nirvana or Nevermind meets In Utero with an orchestra and folk-based.
Could have.
That's what I think. So many fucking things.
But then I don't like thinking about that, because it could have turned out really bad too.
It could have turned out really bad, but it could have been like the greatest thing they've ever done, because everything they did was like the greatest thing they've ever done. Except for Incesticide. That was 5th best. God. Easy.
The worst. So do we have anything else on Come As You Are? I mean, the videos, outside of the video, do we have anything else on this one?
The video's fine. This is one of those videos
stupid.
where it's like, what can we do, man? Like, I don't know. Just add water, dim the lights. It's fine.
It seems very lazy, yeah.
Silly. That's it.
All right. I don't care to talk about the lyrics on this one. I really don't. This is my 11. This is your 10B. So, yeah, let's move on. What B are we on? I don't know.
I've not done 4B. I've not done 3. I've done 3B.
Okay, what do you got for your 3B?
Lithium.
Really?
As I say lithium right now, I feel like I have a lisp when I say lithium. Lithium. That would sound so weird.
I mean, it does a little bit.
Lithium. Oh my God, I hate that word. This is the worst. This is the worst of the Kyle, right? Where the lithium is the worst. Oh my God. Lithium. Oh, it's awful. I hate it. This to me is a better attempt at succeeding in what Come As You Are tried to do. Kurt singing is so fucking lazy here. Even with the big production pushing him to be more pop, he still found a way to say like fuck off and just slur his words. He tapers off at the end of syllables and just sounds like he doesn't give a shit. God, it's so bad.
Mm-hmm.
This is not like overproduced. It really isn't. This album is not overproduced in any way.
I know it's not. I know. I do agree with you on that.
And this is my big epiphany is I've been the biggest like hater of this album for so long because of its overproduction. No, there's much like Jerry Finn and Enema of the State, God rest his soul. Too much production. But this isn't that case. There are still instances here that this is Nirvana. This is Nirvana at its essence. And I love the guitar progression. Lots of notes, lots of noodles, right? And just like, I don't know, keep it going in the chorus. That's dope. And to even have a chorus without words, just screaming.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. The chorus is just him screaming, yeah. That's all it is. And that kind of, I feel like that reinforces our theory that his lyrics aren't really about anything. I mean, he's writing the entire hook, the chorus, with just yas, and that's it. That's all. I love it. I really, really love it. And I do love how just tired and lazy he sounds in the verses. And I love Dave's transition from the verse into that chorus. It's just a simple beat just into it, but it works so well. I love the interplay in the verses between Chris and Kurt's playing. It just sounds great. The bridge is fantastic too. Oh man, dude, this is truly a great song.
What B is this for you? Probably like 12B, 13B.
it's my 10B.
That's okay. Just so like what you did was just choose singles, and then besides Drain You, and then make them your low Bs is what's happened. And then you chose the punk songs and made them your top Bs.
You know what?
Let's see if this. Let's see if this.
Get back to me in like 20 years after you've listened to this record 1,000 times.
Let's see if this.
Then I'm sure your
happens all the time.
bangers will change.
Because it just happens.
I'm sure your bangers will change. I love all these songs.
I love that part. It's so good. Dude, post-chorus Chris in this song, Lithium. Oh, I hate that.
Lithium.
It's so fucking rad. Dude, he's scaling up and down the bass and keeping it really interesting. And this is the 5th track on the album. So we're hearing him kind of do Bleach era stuff, the stuff that he did live. So it's good. It's good bass playing.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I think this is it's not his. It might be one of his best bass performances on the record. It's up there for sure.
He rips it up later too, like in the later pre-chorus bridge thing, the part like super squirrely, and then has his own spot in the light before like everything else comes back in for like the last half of the song or last quarter of the song, I guess.
Yeah.
Like he's on his own there.
He's a killer bass player, man. Underrated. I would say a little bit underrated as well.
I've not heard.
He doesn't do anything super.
I.
What if
like a
Crazy
Axl
Train
Rose.
over here?
Oh, no, you're right. That was Ozzy, not Axl.
Yeah, it's Crazy Train.
It's both annoying at that era. Who cares? But yeah, I don't know if I would say he's underrated. I think he's I think he's not talked about enough, to be honest. But like,
which is underrated, but that's okay.
But like, that's because that's like saying, oh, fucking, in the conversation of God and Gandhi, you know, I can't think of a third person.
Yeah, I don't know what you're getting at.
God, dude. Because he's not talked about enough because Kurt and Dave are so larger than life musician-wise.
Yeah.
That's why he's not talked about enough. Of course he's not talked about enough because he's Kurt fucking Cobain, Dave Grohl. Come on.
Yeah, I get it.
Dave Grohl's still turning heads to this day.
That's crazy.
It's absolutely
with the Foo Fighters,
fucking bonkers.
With the Foo Fighters of all bands, you know.
And I think it's important to note. I do think it's important to note that I think Kurt would be happy with how Dave has handled himself and music and the Foo Fighters since like Nirvana stopped being a thing. Because Dave, even like what was like last year when he was on the flatbed truck playing music to like anti-abortion churchgoers. Remember he was like on the flatbed truck and he was like, you guys should reconsider. And like, dude, come on. He's still doing this shit. Fucking 30 years, 40 years later. The Nirvana was playing anti-abortion rallies. They were in Oregon, right?
Mm-hmm.
At free shows and stuff. Like, that's cool that Dave Grohl still does. That's cool that Dave Grohl like still like calls out like a person in a wheelchair in the crowd and says, "Hey, lift him up on stage," and gives him a guitar and tells him to smash it, and then throws him in the crowd to crowd surf. That's cool that these big bands still do this. Like, Dave Grohl is the last true like rocker. Dave Grohl and Billy Joe Armstrong, the last true rockers. I will say.
Well,
calling it.
I don't know about that.
Calling it.
But also with Dave Grohl, he's a person who in the limelight who nobody ever talks bad about. Everything is so positive about Dave Grohl.
Even when he doesn't.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't like sign autographs outside of like specific times and areas. So when people approach him, like, "Hey, sign this." "I don't sign autographs." "Well, why not?" And in that video, he just runs away, just takes off.
What?
Yeah, there's a video of like Dave Grohl's like walking to or from his car, and a group of people are like, "Hey, Grohl, Dave, like come here and talk to us." And, "Hey, what's up, guys?" And like, "Hey, sign this." He's like, "I don't sign autographs." And like, "Well, why not?" He says, "Because I only sign autographs in specific times because people scalp them and stuff." And they ask him another question, and he's like, and then takes off running.
I've never seen that.
It's so good. God, he's just such like a people person. He's just so nice in like every aspect, so down to earth. He's just like the perfect rock star.
Yeah, definitely. And he's so fucking talented. He really is talented.
Whoa.
Hey. We know Nirvana. We know some good Foo Fighters songs. We know Dead Widow. We know Probot. We know Queens of the Stone Age. So,
Yeah, he's just really good at playing the drums.
All right, let's move on from Lithium. I'm done. Unless you've got anything else on this one.
Let's go to the punk songs now. Here we go.
Oh my God, you're exhausting.
Well,
you're exhausting.
Should we not call them the punk songs because they're the punk songs, right?
Okay, so I guess we're gonna get into the punk songs as you say. So yeah, my 2B, going back a little bit, my second banger on here is "Stay Away." Why do you hate this song so much?
This is my 6B.
God,
this is a high B.
Why are you bitching so much then?
Because you're predictable and pathetic. You're a pee-pee.
Oh.
Yeah, predictable and pathetic.
It's so disrespectful and rude to say it that way.
You're a pee-pee. Just saying.
What I love most about this song is Dave's drumming. It just starts out with that drum roll, builds, and his parts are really simple. They're very catchy. With this song, with Breed, really this song and Breed are the two songs where I feel like he's like, well, okay, yeah, they are. What's wrong with that?
Nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying.
Okay, but you're acting like something's wrong with it.
That's what makes you
acting like something's wrong with it. But that's fine, because this is fun. But what I was gonna say is that I feel like it's his homage to Chad, because Chad has that kind of I don't want to say doo-wop style to his playing, but he has he has unique beats as well, and I feel like Dave is just kind of trying to play like Chad, or is playing like Chad on these two songs to kind of show like, okay, we're still kind of this Nirvana punk band from the Bleach era on Nevermind, and he's playing these kind of like simple drum beats really during the choruses especially.
No, I see it. I get it. I get it. No, I know. It's the punk song. Come on, it's silly boy talk. I think it's the punk song.
So why do you keep talking shit?
Because
I don't get it.
Because it's like the more basic of the songs. It's still a really, really good song, but it's the more basic of the songs on this album. So when you choose these like basic punk songs, because punk at its core is pretty basic, they just think, yeah, I don't know.
But is it really that different than some of the other like slower songs? Where in the verse he's singing like in a lower register. He's kind of like doing this kind of lazy thing, and then it's even in this song it still has the soft and loud dynamic.
It brings it back to like humans. We enjoy melody. We enjoy things that are easy to listen to, that are fun to listen to, and to say that like Territorial Pissings and Stay Away and Breed are on the same plane. I'm on a plane. As like Drain You or even Come As You Are, and Come As You Are is just instantaneously catchy, and I will like admit that. But Like this is not. No, it's inherent in us. It's this subconscious thing that we do. You're fighting nature versus nurture. Nature always wins.
Always wins.
So that's what's happening here. But I do love "Stay Away," man. This is my 6B. This song is so rad.
It is.
God, it's so good, dude.
You
Rad bass line, the back and forth, and the vocals. That is so fucking cool. Like the verse parts, the whatever what do you say in the
The
verses?
monkey see, monkey do.
I don't know.
So
like that. Oh,
so that
good.
part, the I don't know why part, until this week, I never knew what he said.
I didn't know what he fucking said. I would always just say like, I always like kind of do that thing.
Same here.
Like the lazy vocals.
Even now, I don't hear. I don't know why. I cannot hear it. Ah, man, he's so lazy with his vocals, and I love too how Butch Vig has said multiple times that he not purposely, but just that's his style. Like he doesn't care what people hear. He just is trying to sing something that sounds good to him. Like whether or not they're actual words or they're coherent, it makes no difference to him, or it made no difference to him. I love that. I fucking love it, and I hate the people that try to overanalyze shit. Oh, like the we should have brought this up during the In Bloom part, but let's just go back to it real quick. So I came across this video a couple days ago about In Bloom, and it's some dude on YouTube where he's like, he knows musical theory like through and through, and all he does is like break down these pop songs like this or rock songs, and breaks down like, oh, so Kurt was inspired by the doo-wop era of like 1963, and this like he breaks it down like super it's super complicated, and it's like you're completely missing the fucking point. Like it's not this at all, and you're it was like a 4-minute video, and it was exhausting. I got halfway through it, and I'm like, this guy just is full of fucking shit. He can literally say anything. I mean, it was so obnoxious.
We do base like a lot of this podcast on like overindulging in things that probably are not there, but like the essence of what is happening, we keep intact, and
yeah,
like Nirvana especially, Kurt was pretty adamant about lyrics not meaning a goddamn thing, and even like Dave Grohl, dude, like recently had said that dude, like Kurt was writing lyrics like 5 minutes before we fucking started recording them. Like he was just jotting down things that rhymed and doing it as fast as possible just to get it done. Doesn't mean shit.
And not only that, but it's like when you see bands, like really any band, a vocalist goes in with scratch tracks. You know what I mean? Like they go in with just the melody, the idea, but with no lyrics, so they just make noises.
Yeah.
Like that's essentially what Kurt does.
Exactly. It just happens to be instantaneously like iconic with the stupid fucking things he throws out there. Like I hate "Come As You Are," but God, the "Come As You Are,"
But no, okay. So back to "Stay Away." What do you have musically on this? I love the way he screams "Stay Away" in the chorus. It's so good.
Dude, Chris has like some great parts throughout the song too. His bass lines like accent the power chords to make them seem more complicated than they actually are, because we're just having a lot of power chords thrown out on this album, and that's fine, whatever, right? Like right from the get-go, we hear power chords. Smells Like Teen Spirit right from the get-go. The first thing you hear in this album is power chords, and we have a lot of them here. It gets kind of old, and this is the 10th track already. So now like Chris is finally writing bass parts to make those power chords not seem so basic and stupid. I don't know, but it's they're not that complicated still, but he's trying, and the ending of this is really rad when it's just Chris and then Dave double times kind of with the drum roll, to end it.
It's
so sick, so sick.
It is. Also, kind of jumping on the lyrics a little bit, the end of the song, the last line is "God is gay." That's pretty controversial in 1991 to say something like that.
Well, he grew up very religious, and then grew up very anti-religious, but then also kind of like when you grow up religious, you always have that in you that's like, yes, I don't really believe in God anymore, but I still understand a lot of like the values of Catholicism or Christianity or whatever religion you're doing. You still hold those values because that's how you grew up, and they're still like inherent inside of you. And so Kurt brought those later on, brought those later on to his music. Even though he wasn't religious, there's a lot of religious themes. He didn't disagree with religion. He doesn't agree with it. And I don't know. It's this weird like middle ground.
I think it's just trying to offend a little bit, but not be obnoxious about it really, and not be like on the nose about it. If that makes sense. Like he's not writing a song like the title of the song isn't God is Gay. He's just throwing it in kind of like as a throwaway line.
And that's something he was spray painting years prior to this album anyway. He was tagging up fucking the hard streets of Seattle or Aberdeen. And he was tagging up God is Gay for years prior to this anyway. But yeah, I think it's just shock value. It's shock value to get people talking. And I don't think he actually hates God, but I think he enjoys the concept of I think he's one of those guys that would like to talk to somebody who's really, really religious and hear their side of the story as much as he would like to talk to somebody who fucking hates God and hear their side of the story. I think he's a good middle ground guy. Was a good middle ground guy.
Yeah, I could see that.
I don't think he hates God in the way like some of these like metal bands fucking pretend to hate God in silly ways.
Yeah, all the Swedish death metal bands and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's more of a ploy.
Should we play a little bit of Stay Away, or do you want to move on? What do you want to do? How many more songs do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about all of them except for Endless Nameless. I don't really care.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care to. I mean, I like the song, but it's a hidden track.
That's my 13B.
If you had a 13B.
Yeah, and that's it.
That is my 13B as well. I mean, I'm kind of good to wrap it up. Actually, there are two songs I think we should talk about, and that being Polly and Territorial Pissings.
Okay, I was thinking Polly and then Something in the Way, but we could
Polly
for sure then.
No, let's do all three of those then. I'm down to do all three.
Yeah, let's do Polly. There we go. Let's do it.
Okay, so let's jump into Polly. So this one, it's pretty much just Kurt and an acoustic guitar. The story behind it, both instrumentally and lyrically, I think is interesting. It's something, especially lyrically, I was very surprised about, like that he would write about it. But I don't know. Where do you want to start with this song? Take the lead. This is
the beginning stages of Rape Me, right? Like Rape Me is his song that he wrote to be this antithesis of what the title is, and it was lost. Mm-hmm. It was lost on the masses, and it was lost, and it kind of upset him. Polly was like the beginning of that. Polly was this thing that was written about like this girl who was abducted and raped and tortured, and he wrote it from kind of like the perspective of the rapist, but in this way that was fucked up, man. It was bad and weird, and he hated the guy, and he thought it was horrible, and I actually read about this guy too, and I don't want to. Much like the Census Fail song, like why do the criminals get all the fame when like the victims don't get any fame? That was an old Census Fail song, so good. From actually from Let It Enfold You.
Was it? I don't remember.
But if you read about this guy, he actually went to prison decades earlier for the same thing and was released eventually on parole, and then abducted some girl, fucking raped her, blowtorched her, and then was arrested again and now still in prison. But it's just fucking insane. Whatever. That's a whole different topic. But Kurt wrote the song Polly from the perspective of him. And I think that shows, on the surface, it's kind of like, why the fuck would you do that? It's weird. But I think that shows like the amount of like empathy Kurt has. And you can have empathy for somebody that you absolutely hate, that you cannot stand, that the worst people that have ever lived on this earth. You can have empathy for them because you're emotional, because you feel things. And I think what makes this song great, this is my 8B, by the way. This is just fucking fun. Love this song. I think it's fantastic. Fucking idiot. I think it's absolutely fantastic. But I think it showcases just how emotional Kurt was, how he was able to empathize with people in ways. And it doesn't mean he agrees with the guy at all. It just means he's trying to put himself in this person's shoes and feel what this person was feeling in a way that just evoked an emotion. It wasn't a good emotion, a bad emotion. It was just evoking an emotion. And I think that was solid. I think Polly does a really, really good job at being this really catchy kind of acoustic song. But there's something about it, man. There's something about it that's weird. And even he didn't know the backstory, even didn't know what it's about. It's just weird. Makes you feel weird.
Especially the blowtorch part. That part was it's always that part has always been weird to me. And then reading about it more this week, I thought, man, dude, this song is pretty fucked up.
Yeah,
Pretty fucked up.
it is fucked up.
But I don't think at this time in '91 a lot of people were looking at the perspective looking at the perspective like he was of the bad guy, of the villain, of something this egregious and terrible. You know what this guy did to this girl and another girl prior. It was just, it's despicable. It's terrible. And
it doesn't mean that he agrees with it. Like, that's the biggest takeaway. It doesn't mean that because he was putting himself in this empathy, right? Because you're putting yourself in somebody else's shoes. It doesn't mean that he agrees with this in any way because he fucking hates it. And Nirvana existed to be like the antithesis of this. Like, they were very much feminist. They were like the most feminist band that were not like Bikini Kill or in the Riot Girl era.
Yeah.
They were very much like the most feminist band you could possibly have.
Kurt was very outspoken about all
that.
So
it does not mean that he agrees with this, but to have empathy for somebody, it's just...
See, I don't know if it's empathy. I mean, I don't know if it's empathy. I think he's just trying to...
Empathy sounds too much like
picture.
Sympathy, and I think maybe my definition of empathy is not quite correct, but I think empathy is literally just putting yourself in somebody else's shoes, while sympathy is you feel bad for somebody because of the actions that they did. So he has empathy. He can feel what this person is feeling, even though he fucking hates this person.
I still think empathy might be the wrong word. I think he just wants to put something in a dark place or write a song from a dark perspective, and I think that's all it is. I think I don't think it's an empathy thing.
But it is from the perspective of this guy.
I know it is, but it's meant to be like done in a dark way, and I don't feel because empathy kind of I feel like it implies like that you understand why this person did what they did.
But you can still understand why somebody does the things that they do and still think they're fucking horrible for doing it.
True, I guess. But still,
again, like Hitler, like we all understand why he did the things that he did, but like he's still the fucking worst of all time, right? He's the GOAT, possibly the GOAT.
Throw out another word, which I don't think that would really apply to.
Dude, Hitler's like the GOAT at being the worst.
The GOAT at being the worst. Yeah. So the first verse in Polly, I mean, it's Polly wants a cracker. I think I should get off her first. I think she wants some water to put out the blowtorch.
This is the only song, like I mentioned earlier, this is the only song on the album that I read the lyrics and tried to decipher them. This is it.
I mean, I don't think there's anything to decipher outside of the fact that this entire song is pretty much him going through the events of the rapist, the torturer. Dude, I don't think there's a deeper meaning to it.
That line, Polly wants a cracker. Like, dude, treating somebody like an animal, right? Polly, like it's a bird, subhuman, right? Yeah. It's a bird. Yeah. That's what people think Polly. That's what I think Polly is. Do you think Polly want a cracker?
That's what I would think too.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So like Polly wants a cracker. You're treating this person like a fucking animal. And then thinking the next line, maybe she would like some food in the later verses, and I think she should get off her first. But like, it's so disgusting. It's so fucking bad, dude. It's so, oh my God, it's so real. It's so raunchy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so bad. You don't want to talk about it because it's so awkward. It's so fucking bizarre. It's so unreal that somebody could like do these things, and people do these things and continue to do these things. But we don't hear pop songs written around this because it's taboo, because it's horrible. But I mean, ultimately, art is there to make you feel. It's to make you feel something. And if putting himself in the shoes of this guy made Kurt feel, therefore he wrote a song to make us feel, he's accomplished his thing. That's art.
Yeah, true.
I don't know. This song is weird. I think this is like the biggest outlier on the album because
absolutely
it is. I mean, it's the acoustic track, right? Except for the
musically, lyrically,
sick drum performance by Chad. The four cymbal hits that he does. Otherwise, it's just an acoustic track, really. But it's not like an acoustic track as like the closer is. It's an acoustic track that is kind of meant just to be really fucked up.
Yeah. I agree. I do want to play any of Polly. I'm okay not to.
That's fine.
Okay. Let's jump into territorial pissings real quick, and then we'll wrap it up with something in the way. Sound good?
Sure, we got to do territorial. That's the other punk song. Let's do it.
I mean, we don't have to do it. I
No,
just
it's
wanted
good.
to mention
They do the punk thing really, really well. They've always done it really, really well. It just sounds so effortless when they do it.
Yeah,
It's like a band that started as a punk, like a punk band, and then like started as a punk, and then transitioned to this. Like, yeah, let's do a punk song, and they just jump back into it like they never lost a step. That's what it sounds like.
Oh
So
man,
good.
dude, it's really that chorus too is really, really catchy. Gotta get away. Wait. Yeah, it's territorial pissings. Yeah.
And he has a good scream too in this one too.
Yeah, and the guitar tone. So the guitar tone, from what I've read over the years, they didn't actually play this through an amp. They plugged this straight like into the monitor, straight into the board. So that's why it has that crazy crunch guitar tone, because it was not played through a proper amp or anything like that. And it was kind of like done like on a first take, and that's just what we have here.
So good. Just blow it out.
And that's really what it sounds like. It sounds like it's blown out.
Just turn up as loud as you fucking can, because the computer can take it.
My favorite line on this entire record is on this song, and it's the line, "Just because you're paranoid doesn't mean that they're not after you."
They're not after you.
Da-da-da-da-da.
Gotta find a way.
Gotta
Gotta
get
find a
away.
way. What about it?
It's that drum roll too back in, and then the pause, the silence, and then back into the chorus. Oh,
That's such a cool line
dude,
too.
it's
Just
so
because you're paranoid.
don't mean they're not after you. Oh, I love that. I've always loved that line. It's great. And then the beginning, it starts out with Chris. He was kind of goofing around in the studio. Come on, people, now smile on your brother. Everybody get together right now. And then that super distorted, just fucking guitar and bass come in. Oh man, this is a wild song, front to back.
Have you heard that Youngblood song? That's what it's taken from.
Young.
The
It
song was
it was taken from the 60s, right?
well, the artist is called the Youngbloods, and the song's called Get Together. I think that's from like their first album, like early or mid to late '60s. But I have the album on vinyls, and if you heard the song, I know you've heard the song. Like if you heard the actual Youngblood song, I know you would have recognized it.
I probably would.
It's so silly, but it's good. I like it.
But this song is a fucking banger.
It's a banger. It's fantastic.
You hate it because it's a punk song, but
There's only one song on here that I would be okay with like completely erasing.
what is it? It's probably Lounge Act.
No, it's Endless Nameless.
Oh, well, that's a hidden track.
Yeah.
It's not.
And it's not even
I'm
on
not
my vinyls.
Yeah, it's not on mine either.
So I'm completely happy with it.
Okay, so let's move on. Let's wrap it up. Let's move on to Something in the Way, and then wrap it up and rate this record. So Something in the Way, the last song. This is my 12B. I still love this song.
This is my 12B too.
Okay.
But I think this is like one of the most important songs on the album.
I agree. What do you got on it?
I do like the unplugged one better. I wish this studio one didn't have the cello. I think it's too much. Don't want it.
It's a bit cheesy.
I like the way he says like yeah after the something in the way part. It sounds like he's just casually responding to a question like yeah. Like somebody asked, he's like yeah. Like, I love that. And then I was like kind of like reading more into it, and it was hard for everyone to track this song because Kurt kind of fucked it up always. And Kurt had this idea in his mind to have this band behind it, and it wasn't working. It sounded like shit. It just wasn't working. So he went with Butch into the booth, and he's like, "Yeah, dude, check this out." He pulled out a 12-string guitar, which like I guess 5 of the strings were nylon strings, and they weren't even tuned, and the guitar sounded like shit. And he started playing this, and as Laura would have it, Butch mic'd it up and was like, "Yeah, dude, let's use this one," but because it was like an acoustic thing, Kurt couldn't keep the tempo properly. So when they had the celloist come in, cellist? Is it celloist or cellist?
Cellist.
Or celloist? Is it celloist?
No, it's cellist.
I think it's celloist. We'll ask Chow Yun Fat, I guess, what he thinks about that.
What?
Right? Isn't Chow Yun Fat? Isn't that the guy's name? Chow Yun Fat?
What does that have to do with the cello?
He's like a famous celloist.
I thought he was an actor or a martial artist or something.
Am I thinking of somebody different?
I think you're thinking of somebody different.
Who's Chow Yun-fat? Was he like
He's like a
Crouching
martial
Tiger
artist
guy?
actor. Yeah, I think so.
Who was the fucking famous celloist?
I don't know.
I don't know. Oh, Yo-Yo Ma. That was who it was.
Okay, it was Yo-Yo Ma.
Close enough. Not really.
Not at all.
One's a martial artist. One plays a celloist. But yeah, I was reading that it was hard for everybody to kind of like track the song because Kurt can't fucking keep tempo, and the song speeds up and slows down as he's playing the acoustic guitar. So the cellist coming in, who is a classically trained musician, knows a lot about theory, and that's fucking hilarious. Is when you bring somebody in who's just DIY punk ethos, Kurt, with somebody who knows a fuck ton about music, you throw them together, and the guy who knows a fuck ton about music is like, dude, this is hard to fucking write with because you're all over the place.
So real quick, it wasn't Something in the Way.
Yeah, it was.
It was Polly. The guitar. The guitar you're talking about, the 5-string guitar, that was Polly.
What? No, it was Something in the Way.
Oh, wait. No, you're right.
Yeah, it was Something in the Way.
No, you're kind of right. And so Polly was the same thing. He bought a 5-string guitar, a Stella guitar, and he used that on Polly as well. And he had a hard time keeping it in tune, so they ended up having to duct tape the tuning pegs so it would stay in tune while they recorded Polly. But they did. You're right. They did the same thing on.
No, because Something in the Way was a 12-string guitar.
It was
with 5 of the strings were nylon strings, and it was out of tune. And that's when, because Kurt wanted to have the full band in Something in the Way, and it just wasn't working. And so that's why he went into the studio or into the booth with Butch and recorded it. And then they had the band do it later. And even Dave Grohl was like, dude, I can't fucking play the drums to this. He's not keeping tempo properly. I don't know what to do. And Butch is like, just do it. This is the vocal track we have. It's perfect. Work around it. And that's how great fucking Dave Grohl is. And that's how great that celloist is. Chow Yun-fat.
You're the worst.
Or Yo-Yo Ma. I don't know.
Who knows at this point?
Yeah, Something in the Way.
Shit.
Great song.
Something in the Way, yeah.
So
do you want to play it or do you want to wrap it up? Do you want to?
No,
what do you want to do?
We don't need to play. We don't need to play any of these songs, to be honest. This is one of those albums.
It's our 12B. I mean, everybody's heard this album too. That's another thing. But
at least you should have.
So what?
At least you should have.
Well, yeah, you should have. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, like we were talking about, we're not going to talk about Endless Nameless or the other B-sides off this. There are some great songs, great B-sides from this record, and live versions of a lot of these songs. But let's give our final thoughts on Nevermind. I don't really want to talk about the cover; it's iconic, but then we have to get into the lawsuit, and I just don't care enough about that. Right?
No,
it's a weird cover. It's a weird cover in general, and I just don't really want to talk about it. So yeah, let's give our final thoughts on the record, and then rate it based off of our world famous 3-point rating system, where 3 is a perfect album, 2 is a good album you're going to continue to listen to, 1 is a bad album but give it a shot, and 0 is the worst thing you've ever heard. So what do you got? Go.
This album is just one of those albums that like transcends a top tier 3 out of 3 category. This is something that is not just like a perfect album. This is something that like has changed the course of music history. This is something that remember that? Did you ever see that fucking SNL skit where that Voyager rocket they sent out into space? They put a bunch of music in there and like writings and literature and poems. And Steve Martin was like, "Oh yeah, and we've actually heard back from the aliens." And in the Voyager thing, they sent a bunch of music. It was like Beethoven and Bach and Chuck Berry and Elvis and all this stuff, like Zeppelin, and they sent off into space in hopes that aliens would listen to it and think of something. And Steve Martin was like, "Oh yeah, the aliens have sent us back something. Here it is." And then like Time Magazine read, "Send more Chuck Berry." Like that's what the aliens had listened to. I'm like, "Oh fuck yeah, aliens love Chuck Berry." You never seen this skit?
I've never even heard of this skit.
Oh my god, you're the worst.
No.
Do you ever watch TV in your life? Do you even know what a TV is?
I only watch Home Improvement. We all know that.
Oh God, I know. Look it up. You're the worst. I'll send it to you after the pod. But anyway, this is like one of those things. Like Chuck Berry's like Johnny Be Good, dude. Like these things, these songs, these all these pretty songs, just they transcend being better than good. They're not even. they're on a different plane. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I'm on a plane.
I can't even compare it to like sport, except for like maybe the '98 Yankees, like some of these sports things. I can't compare how great this album is to anything else, because nothing else is as great as this album is in the music industry. This album is so important to music. Smells Like Teen Spirit is so important to music that it's bigger. It's however big you think it is, it's bigger. It's bigger.
Yeah, I would agree.
And in that same mindset of where like our human brains can't quite fathom how much a billion is compared to a million when put into like seconds. Like a million seconds is like a month or something like that, but a billion seconds is like 30 years. Like how our brains can't quite process that kind of information that's so big, that's so vast, that's so huge.
Mm-hmm.
That's like Nevermind, man. Our brains just can't quite process how big this is, how impactful this is to this fucking day. And I think to give this a perfect rating is almost an understatement, because this is so important. This is so important. This is more important than it even fucking knows it is. But it's also really good. And so you get both of those things, and I don't know. I'm not even giving it a rating. I'm gonna give it no rating.
5 years
no
ago,
rating.
you would have just trashed this record.
Oh, for
Absolutely
sure.
trashed
for
it.
sure.
But you've matured. You've
Too
matured.
many
You've grown up a
steps.
bit.
And that's what I
Right.
said when doing the vinyl thing. I've matured from the beginning stage of the vinyl collecting to now. I've grown. I've
Yeah.
gone from the beginning stages to the end stages. You have stayed in the middle stage, which is fine. If you like the middle stage, that's fine. That's fine. Who cares?
That is so
It's fine.
wrong. That is so wrong. That's also why
fine.
you have like 10 Rolling Stones records.
Well, 6, but that's fine.
That's 6 too many. But okay, so so this is a beyond banger. This is a beyond 3. So with me, I agree with you. I mean, this is something that did change the music industry and changed culture in general. I mean, everything changed. Like I was saying, style, fashion, movies, TV, everything changed with grunge. Really, I mean, Nirvana was in the forefront. I mean, it's hard for me to kind of just put this into words, but they were
Nirvana
the forefront
should
of
be
this
talked
entire
about
thing.
in the same sentences like the Beatles. Like people love the Beatles
I agree.
because of how they changed music, and Nirvana's like the same fucking way.
Yeah, it's just people don't want to compare anything to the Beatles because they feel like they are god tier. They feel like nothing could be better than the Beatles, but Nirvana were they were
Elvis, Beatles, Nirvana.
Yeah,
God.
they were definitely, they're so fucking important, and they aren't talked about enough for that. And it sucks because, like Michael Jackson, his music is fine. It's fine pop music, but it wasn't that revolutionary. It's very popular, but it wasn't revolutionary like Nirvana's Nevermind was. And again, not only that, the music is fucking great. It's really, really great music. Like you throw on Thriller, there's a few good songs on there. Overall, it's a decent pop record. You throw on Nevermind, every song fucking hits you hard in different ways. And it's something really remarkable. And also a big album like Thriller that costs hundreds of thousands of dollars to make. This costs, I think, maybe $15,000 or $20,000 to make.
Chump
It's
change.
it's just nothing in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, no, this record is truly something special. It changed a lot of how I thought about music and felt about music, and I became so fucking obsessed with Nirvana when I discovered Nevermind. And yeah, dude, this record shaped everything for my musical taste. So you can't give this anything lower than a perfect beyond banger. It's just stupid. Every one of their records is a 3 out of 3 perfect album.
I know. Even giving this album a 3 out of 3 just seems too low.
It's not fair. Yeah, it's not fair.
It just does. It feels weird.
Yeah, definitely. Even Incesticide, that's a perfect record too.
Well, I don't know about that, dude.
Shut the fuck up. You know it is. You know it's a perfect record.
They're three
stubborn.
albums plus Unplugged for sure. 3 out of 3, if not more. Incesticide,
Would you give it a 2.9?
I give it 2.9. I give it 2.9.
Yeah, you're that guy. All right. Do we have anything else on Nevermind? We're good with grunge season.
That's it. Grunge season officially over, baby. I'm excited.
Yeah. Me too.
I'm excited.
Thank you all.
Honestly,
Thank you all for listening. Next week we're taking quite a turn into something pretty different. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for listening. Give us 5 stars. And that's it. That's all. Like I said, all 5 of these albums are interchangeable, and it's totally based off of my mood. And I had the most fun. Listening to Incest Society. It's such a fucking good. What?
Your mood must have been stupid this week then. Stupid rankings. I heard you clicking.
Territorial Pissings is my 5.
And then what's Breed?
Breed is my 4.
You're such a you're pee-pee. You're pee-pee. I don't know.
Hey, Drainey's in there, right? Drainey's in there.
God, you're so predictable and pathetic. That's what you are. Yeah,
that's fine. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, predictable and pathetic. You're one-dimensional. You're a piece of paper instead of like a
why
cube.
Though? But why?
Why are you a piece of paper? Because you're predictable. No. All those songs are very, very similar. All those songs are just basically the punk songs of the album. You essentially just chose the punk songs of the albums. But come on, dude. It's these melodies. The melodies on this album is what makes this album. And I know we can pretend. I know you can pretend like "Stay Away's your favorite," and "Territorial Pissings," and "Breed." All the punk songs are my favorite. But like, fuck off, dude. You listen to this album. You listen to Nirvana because of Kurt and his melodies.